Hello everyone. Subtitles are working. Excellent. I know I always panic at the beginning of like, the subtitles aren't there. They are there. I just use a rubbish program for it. Hello everyone. Hello. My name is Fiona. I use she/her programs, and this is Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs, in which I spend an hour or two reading an RPG that has caught my fancy, either from the great vaults of my Google hard drive, or just as a browse on the internet as I'm trying to keep up to date with various trends, and just anything that's caught my eye. I hope you are all doing well. Ooh, the music's a little bit dramatic, isn't it? I deliberately so, but I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. That's okay, I think. We'll see. Let me know, folks, how it is. Hope you're doing well, my friends. I hope those of you who were at UK Games Expo at the weekend had a good time, bought lots of little fun treats and goodies and stuff. Good jumper. Hello, Liz Campbell. Yes, indeed. I am wearing my horror jumper. You can just barely see the face of the great old one. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well, Liz. I hope work was not too taxing. I hope you are all well. Yes, I've lived vicariously through mostly Liz, but a couple of other folks who were sending me pictures of all their goodies and stuff over the weekend from UK Games Expo. So thank you so much for that. I very much felt like I was there, so I very much appreciate it. Because it was the first time for a little while I've not been able to go because of moving. But yes, what have I been up to? I've done lots of editing, which is always good. Editing's always good. I've actually been doing, ironically, reading for leisure, but it's still to do with role-playing games and stuff. I've been reading through some of there's a volume on Call of Cthulhu called The Keeper's Tips and Tricks, and it's basically it's a very nice-looking book. But I will say it's almost like advice from famous people, and at the beginning of the book it says, some of this advice will contradict and not make sense. And there's definitely some bits of it like that, which are like, I'm a bit like, not for me. Some bits I can take or leave. But what I will say, just to sort of, if people have been watching for a little while, we had our Call of Cthulhu quick start last week, and I was a bit disappointed with the quick start as I'm not mentioning anything in terms of safety tools. Whereas in the Keeper's book, my God, they talk about safety tools all the time. Good evening. Hello, Alexander. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you enjoyed UK Games Expo if you were there. If not, had a good weekend. Hope you're doing well. Yes, thank you. Come on in. So I've been reading that. I've also been reading Cult Divinity Lost, the Keeper's book, which is all about, like, how do you do horror in games? Because in case you haven't noticed, I am a bit of a horror nerd, and I want to get better at, like, doing horror, and as I know there's different flavors of horror. So that's my ongoing project in the background. But yeah, otherwise it's been a very good morning. I've done the various chores and stuff like that, and I'm ready to start event. I was there on social media checking up on my sales, not there in person this year though. Oh, that's a shame. Well, me neither. But I hope the sales went all right as well. But yes, I was also vicariously checking through social media, going, oh, what things are there? So that's fun. But yeah, well, I'm glad. Hopefully the sales were good? I hope so. Right, let's get on to it, friends, today. We are going to look at a very interesting RPG that has caught my eye because I saw a random tweet suggesting, basically, I got tagged in a thread going, I want to see more horror podcast actual plays. Who can I see? And people were like, check out What Am I Rolling? I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't necessarily do it on the podcast itself, but I've done a couple bits and pieces. But somebody else tweeted about this particular RPG that was done on RP Geeks a little while ago by a mutual friend of ours, Aaron Hammond, who is part of the I'm going to say Queen City Comedy. No, Queen Court Games. Queen City Comedy is an improv group that I sometimes play with, so they were pretty good, thank you. Oh, excellent. I'm very glad to hear, my friend. So yeah, Queen Court Games, who are they're doing really great stuff in the US tabletop RPG sphere. One thing I really like about them is that they will put out like calls to be like, hey, apply to us for grants and we will help you get into stuff like Webfest and like these certain high profile like judging shows and contests, so that tabletop RPGs get a chance to like win some awards and stuff like that. Let's go. Hello, what's up, my friend? I'm going to try and pronounce your name. Sir Manchin. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So they ran this particular, or one of the scenarios from this particular RPG that we're going to look at today for our friends at RP Geeks, and I was like, ooh, how interesting, because it just caught my eye. So today, friends, we are going to be looking at something called Viewscream, a live-action role-playing game, which is good. Everyone says my name differently. Fair enough, fair enough. Well, let me know how you would pronounce it. If you want to write that out in the chat, that would be very helpful, so I can at least attempt to get it right. I'm very appreciative of people trying and at least watching my channel, so I appreciate it. But yes, today we're going to look at Viewscream, which is a live-action roleplay, which has been designed for online play via video chat or audio chat software, which is great, considering this came out originally in 2013, which is very exciting. So this was obviously before pandemic, before everyone else really went online to play their role-playing games. So this was already designed or written before those times. And yeah, so we're just going to go and look at that and go into it. Now, I will say, before we start, let's just do the content warnings at the top of the thing, just because I do think the cover image is a bit like, not for me, thank you. So, it is going to be a horror RPG of some sort. I believe it's sci-fi. I don't know necessarily the content of it. Again, as always with these streams, I sort of read them aloud, see what we like about it, see what we don't like about it, and see what we can do in terms of accessibility. And if anything, we want to improve about it, or something that comes to our mind. I don't know exactly what this is in terms of it. Mason, Zerm, more. Okay, I'm fine with that. Alright, I'll go with Zerm if that's alright. Do let me know if that's okay by you, but it's nice to have you here, my friend. Very much appreciate it. So yeah, so like I said, content warnings. It could be gruesome, could be a bit gory, stuff like that. If it's anything too much, I'm going to pass it on the chat, but I just want to give, pass it off in the stream, sorry. I just want to give anyone else at home just having a watch of this, permission to be like, tap out, no thank you. Because again, I'm not so sure about that. Also, not necessarily sponsored by the, it's fine. When it's all lowercase, I read it completely differently, but fair enough. I'm not sponsored by Raphael Chandler, who is the writer of this particular game, or the publishers or anything like that, just to look through it. I just, I got this with my own money, and I just wanted to read about and see what it is about that, so I just want to say that at the top. So all these opinions may be completely unfounded. I am not a game designer by any means. I play and run a lot of games, so this is just my 2 cents as I'm looking over an RPG. Again, the version we're looking at is the 10th year anniversary. So there might be updates in terms of safety tools and stuff, but then again, maybe not as well. So I just wanted to head up that before we begin. So first things first, we always have a look at the store page where you can get this. I'm going to put it in the chat again, so you can always have a look at this. And I want to just make clear, because sometimes it's not obvious. I'll go from Big Fiona screen to Tiny Fiona. There we go. So this is on itch.io. So this is Raphael Chandler's itch.io thing. This is the most updated version. Oh, hello, Alexander. Can I vote for Shiver RPG to be the next too long can't even say it. Can I vote for Shiver RPG to be the next Too Long Didn't Read, please? I got the core book at MCM and it's really good. Yes, I have a feeling I might have already covered it. I'll have a check through the VODs. If I haven't, I'll absolutely put in this. I will say I have scheduled the rest of June because I was very bored over the weekend. But I will definitely put it on if that is a request, absolutely, because I do really love Shiver. I love Parable games. I think the Mendez brothers are brilliant, and they've got their new quick start as well for the Ion. That's it. I've scheduled Ion, their solo RPG, to look at the end of the month. So my bad. No, don't be. Not your bad. I don't expect everyone to come to this channel to have watched all the other views. Do not worry. I'll have a check. If it's not on there, I will absolutely put it up. If it is on there, I will somehow link you to the VOD. But I'm always up for it because it's a good game, and also it's good to support UK local tabletop RPG designers. But I'll double check. I can't remember because I've done quite a few of these now. Anyway, so this is the latest version of Viewscream. I wanted to say this at the top because there are quite a few different versions of it. There's like the 2013 version, then there was a Kickstarter 2016 version, and then there's this one, which just has everything in. The copies on Drive for RPG. Technically, you could buy the second edition and then the 2 expansions, and it will be cheaper than this that is on itch.io. I've gone for itch.io because that had everything included. So it's a little bit confusing. The reason I know the difference is because this particular cover, I think it's the original cover, and the second edition has like some sort of really weird metal band-esque type things. I will show you it if I can do. Hopefully, I'll be writing some content for it soon. Oh, fantastic, Alexander. Oh, congratulations. That is very, very exciting. Oh, I love Parable games. Are great. I love them. They're so much fun. What was I going to say? So, yeah, as you can see here, this collection contains the second edition and both expansions of 2020 and Distance. So I just wanted to put that up at the top as well, so that if you want just everything included, you can get it in this particular itch. It's about $19. So about, what, £16, £17 esque. It is roughly the same, maybe a pound or two cheaper on Drive for RPG if you're getting them separately. But I was just like, I can't tell the difference, so I've just got them all in one. And one thing, what I do think is quite cool, which I won't be able to show you, but because that's not the point of the thing, is that when you download it, you get the zip file, so you get the rule book, which is about 40 pages. Then you get the 35 adventures, and then you get folders for individual scenarios with all their resources, because obviously it's like a laugh in a way, so that each different scenario you could play through, and you've got all the separate things for that. So they've actually really thought about, like, if you were playing it online, here's all the handouts you might need. So I thought that was good. I'll stop derailing the stream now. No, not at all, Alexander. No, it's the whole point of the stream is for me to chat and to read stuff. So do not feel sorry. It's also very exciting as well, and also I derail very easily on that front. So, like I said, so it's designed for online play via video chat or audio chat, such as Zoom. Remember Skype, Google Hangouts, Roll20, or Discord. So so you can do it over any sort of audio interface, so to speak, with your friends. What is it about? So 3 to 5 players assume the roles of desperate people trapped in a world of high-tech horror. Crew members going insane aboard a damaged starship, scientists in research labs hunted by their own creations, or futuristic data thieves on the run from soulless security drones. So a nice different variation in terms of like stories we can tell here. The characters are separated by quantum anomalies, hostile xenomorphs, or tentacled horrors beyond human comprehension, and they need to work as a team in order to survive. Since they can't reach one another in person, these characters must communicate via view screens throughout the ship, just as the players communicate via video chat software. A typical session lasts between 60 to 90 minutes. So this is what I quite like about it. So instantly, yeah, it feels more like a LARP than a role-playing game. But I don't think there's a problem with that particularly. I guess like maybe there's a few other safety tools that you need to put in place, and maybe some more expectations in that session 0. But also, it's already thought in mind, like, okay, the big sort of selling point of this game is that you are separated, you aren't in the same room. So how, so the scenarios are going to be deliberately sort of written to that specification, which I think is really great. And I'm a big fan of playing online and using stuff online. And certainly, again, when we talk about the pandemic and COVID and all that sort of thing, because it had a massive impact on quite a lot of things in the last couple of years. I don't wish to do that down. But what I love about it, this particular game, is that you can then use objects and stuff and like be in your own space as if you were at like your desk. Say if it was a starship, that you're in engineering and you're like, oh, okay, I've got this and I've got this. Like I love using physical props. That was one thing I loved when we did improv in the pandemic, was that we could go and do almost like our own mini Taskmaster-esque, like get props, get stuff for characters and stuff like that. It was really, really fun. And you only had like 20 seconds to find stuff. So I can imagine this being the same thing here. So you can check out the Kickstarter for the 2nd edition. Obviously, that's funded now over 8 years ago. It's quite interesting to see like what was there on that game. There's a review as well. So this was the second. You can see why I was confused about like what on earth. This was the cover of the 2nd edition, which to me, I'll be honest, it looks more like a D&D Cobalt Press book, like Tomb of Beasts, etc., like a sci-fi thing, rather than something to do with like view screens here. And you can tell why I was a bit like about that image there. It's not the best image, I feel like, for this game. But this feels more like relevant to what we're about to do than this, personally speaking. But who I know, cool concept. Would absolutely crack out a janky Skype call for it. Well, exactly. That's what I thought would be quite fun. And every so often just like drop off. So again, this is the other thing I hadn't considered perhaps, but like obviously we think when we play role-playing games and stuff like that, we have to be sat here in front of a computer with like a fixed camera. When we were doing pandemic improv, I love the idea of being on my phone and then moving the phone to a different position or having a different camera and being able to switch to it, almost like security cameras. So maybe you could do something like that. Like again, we haven't even started looking at this book yet, but I was like, oh, maybe this. I'm a big fan of like fixed point videos, and cutting to in between people, because I just thought that was just always a cool way of storytelling. But yeah, I just don't like this image at all. I don't think it. I mean, what is this? I'd also say, and again, this is only my own opinion for it. So this, you'll see it here. We'll go into it when you see the full book. This is the author's name, Raphael Chandler, and some sort of really cool gothic thing. And they have the same thing with Viewscream in the inside of the book. I can't read it. I really don't like it. It's the sort of thing you see on like death metal t-shirts and stuff like that. And I'm just there. Unfortunately, not of the audience that probably is for. I'm just like, I I don't get it, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry. But it's an interesting review. I'd highly recommend checking it out as well. The stuttering visuals and occasional drop-offs are essential to the vibe. Exactly. Yeah, you're like, oh no, they'll never come back. The font is terrible in my opinion. Yeah, I hate it. You know what? Tell you what, I'll zoom in. There's where you can get it on Drive for RPG. You can't see it. And actually, I'll show you. Those are the 2 expansions you get with with everything in the itch thing, just to let people know that. Oh no, fucked it. So anyway, let me zoom in so you can actually see it, because it's it just doesn't look great against on this busy background as well. I don't know. It's just not for me. Just not for me personally. But anyway, there you go. So that's zoomed out. Right. Enough of me commenting and stuff like that. Let's actually look at the final thing. If there are let's start again. So yeah, you could. Well, I think this is quite a cool thing to do. And again, maybe this particular thing hasn't been updated. This particular store page hasn't been updated, because obviously you can embed certain videos into itch now, so you can show playthroughs. Where what this person has done is that you can actually, this is like a search on YouTube, so you can actually see people go. So right now you can see me. I'm actually talking about. Oh, that's quite scary. You can actually see me talking about it right now, because it's got the keyword in there. But this is the one I was talking about, the sci-fi horror from RP Geeks. This is their actual game that they played there, so I would recommend checking it out for sure. I think it's all in one shot. It's about 2 hours long. But yeah, just worth checking out, because there is an actual player there. There's some others as well. It looks like, yeah, some other bits and pieces look. But again, can't tell. But I just thought that was a neat idea. Like clearly, like I'll just gonna put this so people could go, oh, and then they could pick whatever they want to see on that. Again, I think nowadays you could just embed the videos you want people to watch rather than them having to look at it. But it's just something a bit different. Right. Anyway, let's get rid of terrible. Okay, all right. First of all, let's get ready for the bad font. Okay. I'm just gonna pop it up for me, and then let me find. Okay. Goodbye to Chrome. 3, 2, 1. Terrible. Like, I get it. It's the sort of thing you see on a T-shirt, perhaps, but I can't read that. I know it says Viewscreen. I know it says Raphael Chandler. No. Sorry. I'm really sorry. I just do not like it. The other thing I'd say as well, we do have on here, we got a reference sheet, which is pretty much just blank text, which is, again, no problem with that. It's easy to read. And we've got some scenarios here. The scenarios, like, it gives like an example of the titles of them and then the breakdown of them, which is quite good. For some reason, it must be the newer ones that they've just not added in for whatever reason. A description of each scenario as well, which is pretty good. There is no content warnings for them though. Just a heads up. That's again, your mileage may vary depending on which one you're playing, but there's quite a few of them. So again, I like a game that has these like little mini scenarios that you could play over and over and over again. And if they're only 60 to 90 minutes, that's great. You could play a couple every other week. It's great. And maybe we're not going to necessarily look at each individual scenario, so we're just going to look at the rules and like general sort of vibes of what this is, and then maybe one. But yeah, good to know. And yeah, you can see those here. We've got like a doubled up scenarios. So it's for 4 and 5 players as well. But yeah, an interesting way of displaying it. I guess, yeah. I see what they've done. So most of these ones are 4 players, but then you have 2 that are 3 players, and then 4 that are 5 players. I don't know why they're not all in the same thing and then separated out. I don't know. Oh, look at that. There's another bot. I'm just gonna delete it. Thank you, Nightbot, for being on there. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go through. There we go. See, that is a much better. I think that makes more sense to get that vibe. But yes, this is the 10th anniversary edition, created by Raphael Chandler. Playtesters as well. And I'll be honest, I don't think this QR code works, or this file works. I'll be honest, I don't think it does. So I'm just going to skip past it for now. So if you want to have a look, too bad. The table of contents, we've got 7 chapters in total, I believe. Yes, we do. And straightforward and clean enough. It's just a bit boring, I think. It doesn't excite me as it could do, because it doesn't have any art inside. Yeah, it's very clean this, so again, easy for accessibility means. But it'd be quite nice to have it a little bit, I don't know, less, what's the word I'm thinking of? Less Mechanical? No. I just think it looks a bit boring, really. And maybe it just reminds me of like the ye old, like when you used to print them out on the 80s, the big sort of printer stuff, that sort of way it prints stuff. I mean, no problem with that per se. We've got the overview, we've got the introduction, we've got the overview, we've got the characters, excuse me, we've got emergencies, solutions, secrets, ending, and advice. So we'll get through as much as we can. I mean, it's 40 pages, this PDF, so we'll probably get it through, hopefully, in the time we've got allowed. But like I said, we're not going to look at any particular scenario, unless maybe we should do utilitarian, retro. Yes, that's much better. Yeah, it does feel very, I think, just done for the sake of doing it, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Again, makes it easy for me because I can actually read it, when sometimes some of the font stuff is, as we've discovered in other RPGs, where I'm just gone, I don't know what that says. All right, so we've got a little bit of stuff here, a little bit of artwork. So, the introduction. Your starship is damaged. Most of the crew members are dead. Space, which once seemed a wondrous frontier, has now revealed its true nature to you, a ravenous void. A few of you remain. You are separated from one another by quantum anomalies and hostile xenomorphs. In a matter of minutes, this starship will tear itself apart, and you will be sucked into the darkness. If you can make it to the escape pod, you might survive, but first you'll have to do something terrible. Will the other crew members help you? Will they turn on you? Will you work for your commanding officer or conspire and connive in secret? I've never seen that word actually written out before. How far will you go? Can you escape, or will someone find your mangled corpse floating in the void? So it sounds like, again, and not that I've looked at any of these scenarios, that we're all in the same space. It is a spaceship of some sort. It is sci-fi and stuff like that. But maybe the setting is different. Like it talked about that idea of being like on the run from security drones, all that sort of thing. So, but overall, it feels like aliens, right? Some things aboard the ship is pretty bad. So Viewscreen is a live-action game designed for play over video's chat software. Players assume the roles of starship crew members. I should have read further down, shouldn't I? In a perilous situation, or futuristic data hackers caught in a digital web, or soldiers defending a space station under attack, and other scenarios which isolation and paranoia are the key themes. The characters must work together to rescue one another from various threats. Threats in bold. One player is the Bridge, which is analogous to the game master role in many RPGs. Ooh, we love a good name for us. The Bridge. The player is the facilitator of the game experience. Typically, the Bridge is the most experienced player and has played the game before. Bridge is not just a GM. Bridge is a character in the game and might die at the end. For that matter, all characters might die. Viewscreen is a rigged game. In every session, at least one of the characters is marked for death. Because Viewscreen is played online, the players might be in different countries or in a different room in the house. Regardless of location, during the actual game, the players must never be in the same room. You can't have two players sharing a single camera. But what if you could? What about you have an optional rule where somebody could come in and we're now trapped in the same room or something? Sounds like a pro wrestler. It does. Yeah, the Bridge. I've been watching sort of side note, I've been watching Starstruck Odyssey on Dimension 20, because I'm very far behind on late to the party as always, and they've just done this big fight, like a big inside arena thing, and we have they have like all these kooky characters, etc. But then they have Plinth, which is basically this an obelisk like sort of character, just a big voice, and they're like Plinth, Plinth, Plinth. So I like that. Similarly, the characters themselves will never reach each other physically. They're separated from each other and will even make their way to separate escape pods. Characters might allude to meeting up at some point. I'll see you on the planet's surface when it's all over. But this never happens during gameplay. Ooh, I like it. So almost like it literally is real-time playing when you're telling out the story. It's not like, and we go forward and back in time, per se. Oh, I like that. Plinth! Playing with people in different countries, clearly unheard of in 2013. Ooh, what's that? A different time zone. From start to finish, characters are separated by obstacles. quantum anomalies, flesh-eating zombies, damage to the ship, or tentacled horrors from beyond time and space. The only communication is through camera and video screen. Because this is a live-action roleplay, players remain in character from start to finish. Out-of-character comments and questions are typed into the chat window and which will always remain open. So yes, it definitely feels more like a LARP in that sense. So you have like, again, folks who watch this probably know this as well, but if you're doing like a LARP in a text context, if you want to ask something out of character, you do, was it out of character, so OOC in brackets, and then ask the question, and then you can go back into character, I think it was ICC, right? Or something like that. Out of character, in character, IC, back in character, I think. Anyway, typical game session lasts for about 60 minutes to 90 minutes, so it's quite short as well. It's quite intense, but short. And hey, if everyone's committed, that's pretty good. Interesting, so you have to act. Yes, I think so. Like you start off and you get given this role, and again, I'll show you with this maybe scenarios. Maybe I'll get one of the handouts so you look and you get some information in this handout about like what your character is. And you know what? Why don't I just open it now so I can just show you what I glimpsed at briefly. Oh, but do I not have it? Oh no, I should have it. Damn it, I'll find it in a second. But basically, the scenarios I saw, it told you like the beginning what your role was and then how you feel towards other roles, and that gave you like a prompt to do that relationship stuff. So it felt like you didn't do any character creation per se for these particular scenarios. Like you just started, and then yeah, so no session 0, no character creation per se. You just got given the roles and then you just go. So so maybe less prep per se for the players. But we'll see. But yeah, because I don't know. Again, it feels more LARPy than roleplay, so maybe there's not going to be any dice mechanics at all. We'll find out. So the book itself is divided into 7 sections, which is the overview, which is the terms and concepts, which we're going to go into. The character sheet, Archer will tell us here. Character sheet, interaction and conflict. Emergencies, so the obstacles that must be overcome in order to win. So you have to win this RPG. Solutions, the technological devices and skills that you can use to help others. Secrets, things you keep hidden from others, but will eventually confess. And how to conclude a session, and then advice and tips for getting the most out of your game. That's certainly a design choice. Seems like this is designed to stream. Yes, well, exactly. And like I said, I hadn't heard of it before. The only reason I heard about it was because somebody put it into the Twitter thread that I was looking at, saying like, oh, RP Geeks did it. And I was like, RP Geeks, I know them very well. I know Aaron, who runs it. Oh, and then I was like, well, I might as well just look at this, because this is, again, very different to the other horrors we've been looking at recently. So, overview. So before play begins, make sure you're comfortable with the rules. This is not the kind of game you figure out during play. If you try to jump in without understanding how emergencies and solutions work, you're going to sabotage the experience for the other players. Print and read out your character sheet, and fill in any parts that require input or answers from you. Typical that a game that, you know, is meant to be online play still tells you to print stuff out. Again, I can imagine if I was like, okay, I've picked the scenario, let me make sure that all the player stuff is, I don't know, accessible online and can be, I don't know, editable online as well. We love to see players being reminded to share their characters' secrets. Absolutely. Imagine clapping between those. I like that. Yes, but hey, you've only got 90 minutes. You better get out that you're a long lost twin and you replaced the other twin before you came aboard. Don't read other players' character sheets. You'll spoil the surprise. Even if you've read this book cover to cover, skim the quick-to-play rules to refresh your memory. Typically, guys, games are arranged by social media or email. This process is left to the individual player. Absolutely do not use social media for this. Do not be like, hey, who wants to play a game of Viewscream? Yeah, definitely stream compatible, especially with a strict time limit. Absolutely. But could you imagine, like, hey, guys, who wants to do it? Yeah, just talk to your friends. That's it. Wow. Important, download all PDFs by typing in the shortened URL on page 2 or by scanning the QR code. The QR code I don't think works, so that's fine. Game launch. To start the game, launch the video chat software at the appointed time. When the players are in the same room, the bridge, the game's GM, should make sure that everyone can hear and see each other. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's like, is this a game or is this a regular Teams meeting? At that point, all players mute their microphone except for Bridge, who reads the distress signal. It's a short message on the Bridge's character sheet, which provides context for the rest of the players. If feeling ambiguous, the Bridge may choose to ad-lib the distress signal based on the details in the provided script. This is encouraged. Go for it. Get weird. Oh, amazing. Tweeting the only 4 people with webcams in 2013 is trying to get a game going. You know what? It reminds me when I used to work at my old job at university. I think roughly in 2013, 2014, we had conferencing software which only we were allowed to use in our team, and we weren't allowed Skype or anything like that, or Google Hangouts was another thing, and we had to record via it, but it was very janky. It was rubbish. I remember it so well. And I remember an academic was like, well, can we use this? And I was like, well, you should have one of us there just for tech help. No, it's fine. And I just remember sitting at my desk and the physical phone going, and I picked it up and it was this academic going, I can't get it to work. I don't understand what's happening else. And everyone else was out of the office on some trip. And so I had to go in and sit in a ye old fashioned Skype Zoom call. It wasn't even, I don't know what it was. It was dreadful because you had to upload like your PowerPoint. You couldn't share your screen. You had to upload the PowerPoint to the software and then get the host to push through the slides whilst you were talking. It was wild. I admire the ambition of this game. It may seem daft now, but it's quite revolutionary in terms of its scope at the time of publishing. Totally agree. It's actually a very nifty idea, and I love them using the tech in an interesting way. Yeah, that's why I was quite excited when I was like, oh, I haven't heard of this game. Because it's kind of relevant to presumably everyone who's watching this' interests. So that's why it's quite funny. But yeah, again, data. But imagine if they did like an updated version now with maybe safety tools at the top. So yeah, PowerPoint RPG is next. Oh no, get the Kickstarter ready for that, Liz. That'll be great. So, play. During play, each character deals with 2 emergencies which are listed on the character sheet. Perhaps your character was exposed to radiation or was being menaced by a hostile xenomorph which is aboard the ship. Whatever the case, you need to get the other players to solve these emergencies for you. You can't solve your own emergencies. Again, it's like you're all in your different escape rooms, isn't it? You also have solutions which are technology-based means of solving other players' emergencies. You can't use your own solutions on your own emergencies. You must ask the others for help. Cajole, beg, threaten, bring up memories of old times together. Do whatever you feel you must. In essence, you are competing with other crew members who also have emergencies. There are also only so many solutions to go around, and when it's over, someone's going to have some unsolved emergencies left at the end. You do not want to be this person. Here's the catch. Some solutions don't work. On your character sheet, you will see that some solutions are marked success and others are marked failure. You, the player, are aware that some of your solutions are doomed to fail, but your character doesn't know this. Your character may offer to help someone else. Say you're caught in a Tyon fluctuation. I've got access to the core brain frame controls. Maybe I can use them to remotely bombard your section of the ship with omega radiation to push the tachyon field out of the ship. Want me to try that? Cajole, threaten, beg, gaslight, throw other people under the bus or out of the airlock. You must win this tabletop RPG. That's what it feels like, right? You must win. I love it. Again, it has all that vibes of like, Alien, The Wretched is the other game we looked at. Like I did, like you're alone on the ship, but then there are other people you can call. I kind of love that, but yeah, it's a bit like you must win. Again, I feel like it's difficult to do that without the Session 0 stuff, but again, it's up its time, is it not? Now you, the player, can clearly see that it's marked failure on your character sheet, so you're basically offering someone a useless solution. You, as the player, knows this, but your character doesn't know that, and has no idea it's not going to work. As you're offering a worthless solution, the other players are going to have to decide whether to accept your offer of aid or not. If that player says, it sounds risky, sorry, I'm going to pass and talk to engineering instead, then maybe engineering can offer a solution that will actually succeed. I could stabilize the power nacelles and try to reroute the energy to the shields in your area. Thus the person you offer to help actually gets the solution dealt with, just not by you. But here's the thing. If you offer this crew member the Omega radiation solution and they accept your offer of help, then perhaps you immediately talk to engineering about your emergency and you ask for help. Engineering says, I can try to stabilize the power nacelles, and after that, maybe I can reroute the energy shields to your sector. You say, sounds good, engineering, thank you. Then you reveal to the other player that your solution didn't work. I tried to use the core brain frame controls to eradicate your section of the ship with the omega waves, but it didn't work. Looks like your tachyon fluctuation wasn't affected after all. I'm sorry I failed you. Among Us, but with more steps. Absolutely, that's what it is. Oh, I do like that. Oh, that's really fun. Then the engineering reveals that the power nest cells have stabilized and your emergency has been successfully resolved. You're safe. You may have doomed someone else's character, but your gambit paid off. You're one step closer to surviving the game. Unfortunately, maybe your other emergency requires you to ask help from another player you just screwed over. How will that work out for you? If at the end of the game all your emergencies have been resolved, then your character makes it to an escape pod and survives. If not, then your character dies. We'll talk about player death in just a little bit. It's kind of casual the way it's sort of talking this, isn't it? I do think, like, again, I like the idea, like, you have this list of information. It's a bit like, there's that Game Changer episodes where they had, like, boxes come to their house and they could look inside the box and they go, oh, it's just a pile of cans of fish meat or something like that. And the other players had to choose whether they were going to pass or steal. And then, obviously, when they reveal it, it's like, it is piles of fish meat or whatever, or it's 2 tickets to Disneyland. Yeah, I kind of like that idea that it's a similar vibe where you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to help me. Yeah, I do kind of like this vibe. You know what? It feels very much like Paranoia, where you're like, oh, will this help me, or will this just backstab me? And again, I do wonder though, like, if you don't have that session 0, quickly just check everyone's in okay with that, like, because you just start. It sounded like. Anyway, the bridge. The role of the bridge, or alternatively, the bridge, is recommended for the experienced gamers, particularly if they've played Viewscream before. As bridge, you're in a tense and volatile situation. Perhaps your character is a junior officer who's suddenly the highest ranking person on the ship, because everyone else has been eaten. Or perhaps you're a cyber heist operator who's who bit off more than they could chew. Whatever the case, this is beyond your experience and the situation is deteriorating. However, even if Bridge is panicking, furious, or terrified, you, the player, must maintain control. Responsibilities. So, the Bridge loops other players into conversations. So, for example, early in the game, the Bridge might say, "Bridge to engineering, do you copy?" This tells the player whose character is called engineering that it's time to unmute their microphone and say something. Oh, of course, because you've all, again, so yeah, you're calling each other. Everyone else can hear the conversations but can't interrupt necessarily. Loving the cooperation vibes. Yeah, me too. Later, the bridge might say, "Engineering, let me get back to you." At this point, engineering should reply with something like, "Copy that, engineering out," and mute the microphone once more, because the bridge is about to start up a conversation with another crew member. Alternatively, engineering might say, "I need help with an emergency," at which point the bridge could reply, let me get the sensors in here to help you. Sensors, this is Bridge. Engineering needs your assistance. Bridge out. At this point, Bridge, your character, is not involved. This means that you could mute your microphone and then Sensors and Engineering play through their scene. Perhaps the two of them agree to help each other. Perhaps one of them accuses the other of murder. Perhaps they talk about whether the bridge is qualified to lead them through a crisis. Whatever the case, the other players can see and hear what's going on, but their characters can't. Love the need to bluff your friends. Absolutely, Liz. The player controlling Bridge might know they're talking about the Bridge's failures as a leader, but the character named Bridge has no clue. Managing scenes is a huge part of Bridge's job. This allows each player to have a few spotlight scenes in which the character is briefly the star of the show, and it permits conflict and collaboration between the various characters. Excuse me. Other responsibilities of the Bridge are similar to those of GMs in other role-playing games, so focusing on character development and story during the first minutes of play. I thought I said first 40 minutes of play. JC Darcy, hello, friends. Hello. How are you doing, my friend? Just got in. We're just doing this Viewscream, which is like a LARP type thing where it was written in 2013, where we could use the internet to play role-playing games. I know, exciting. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope the drive back wasn't too taxing. As you can see, tracking status by asking other players for updates about emergencies and solutions. Creating conflicts by noting friction between characters and putting them in scenes together. As you can see, If you're playing the role of the bridge, your job is to keep the story moving forward, to stay informed about how the other characters are doing, and to create conflict. Pacing. It is critical that the bridge manages the game's pace by slowing down the rate of solutions. The bridge can focus on these from the minute that the game begins, if the bridge focuses on these from the minute the game begins, the game can be over in 50 minutes, and it won't make a lick of sense. It's like rapidly skipping pages in a novel or fast forwarding through a movie. In fact, it's like playing a traditional dungeon-crawling role-playing game by starting off with a battle against a giant monster in the dungeon, handing out the treasure after a 20-minute fight and calling it a day. What about the build-up? What about the tension? What about strategy, tactics, and teamwork? Won't someone please think of the friendships we made along the way? Instead, the bridge should give the game scenario time to breathe by focusing on questions and scenes that establish dread, paranoia, distrust, cooperation, relationships, and past histories. Rather than immediately demanding to know what the emergencies and solutions are from the beginning, resulting in a truncated game, the bridge should ask about the situation, mental, emotional, physical, in that the characters are in. So where are you? Are you alone? You look stressed out. What's your emotional state? Are you okay? What happened? Did you see anything? Are they all dead? How did they die? Did you talk to so-and-so? What were their last words? You know, I went to a restaurant a little while ago, and it had like little. Again, I think it was a very sweet idea, but I don't know how well it came off. Like 20 icebreaker questions to ask each other. So you'd put them in the little thing at the table, and it was like, "What did you last dream about? What did you want to be when you grow up?" Yes, we looked this up when you mentioned it last time. It looks awesome. Yeah, no, I don't know about awesome. It's interesting for sure. It's interesting for sure. Any idea what's wrong with sensors? Their behavior is very strange. Oh, I'm skeptical there, sorry. I thought I saw someone in the room with you. No, behind you. I heard a strange noise. Did you hear it? Do you trust me? This is just like that time on Epsilon 7. You remember that mission? Why are you acting so oddly? I know we're in danger, but I need you. Can I count on you? And so on and so forth. Sorry. Oh, I was thinking my throat. I'm going to pour myself a bit more water. Yeah. I decided to double up on water just in case, and I was a good one. Well, the concept looked good. Oh, the concept looked awesome. Yes, agreed. There we go. Let's see. Questions like these help deepen the web of relationships and conflicts between the characters, and can be used to slow the pace of the game if things seem to be speeding up too quickly. Tip: find your spotlight hog. Every game has one. And give that person a soapbox. Most games, or Viewscream or anything else, have at least one scenery chewing attention hound. They're easy to spot and they're lovely. Take them off the leash, provoke the character, give the player a chance to melt down, gloat, beg for mercy, or accuse other characters of treachery. This adds a lot to your game. It's part of your fun as the bridge. Accuse, insinuate, threaten, insult, encourage, praise, or whisper in a detached manner. Get them riled up and let them loose. You'll love it. Your dulcet tones kept me company on the drive back, and all I can say is Chantel is well steep. Oh, that's the liminal stuff. Ah, well done, guys. Hooray. Glad to hear. Yeah, so one thing I will say, again, this feels more of a conversational tone with the designer rather than like, here are the rules, etc. I don't mind it put too much, but it's quite funny, isn't it? Hey, there's always this person in this game. Let them loose. You're like, ooh, okay. So I guess it's very different advice, perhaps. But as long as, yeah, I like that they're very easy to spot. The ones that chew on the scenery, they're lovely because they love the game. They want to be a part of it. I agree. Because often you have like, oh, there's always one person that always takes over. But that's because they're really often, not always, they're really engaging in the story and game. And maybe people don't feel comfortable joining in, or they're like, oh, I don't find a spot to it. Sometimes we had that with improvisers as well. Not all of them, but sometimes people go, oh, I've got this idea, and jump in. And other people will follow and like, oh, that's a great idea, and then like, all right, that scene ends, and nobody else jumps with an idea, and that person goes, okay, I'll jump in again, and it gets into a habit of doing that. So I like how here goes, hey, there's always these people in RPGs, and they're fine. They really want to engage with your story, but maybe they're not aware that other people haven't had a go yet. One thing I found as a player myself, so I know sometimes I'll come up with a fun idea, and people really like it. But I've noticed when I watch stuff back, I'm too quick. Like in a sense, I'll do something very quickly, and then I go, cool, I'm done now, because I've spent that 5 minutes, and I want to make sure that the spotlight goes on to someone else. And I think as a pro, like, yeah, your players know that, oh, so-and-so's not had a go yet. But it's also up to the GM to do that as well. So I have to be aware that like I can slow down with my scenes as well, but I'm aware that other people can have a go and include them in my other themes, other scenes as well. Oh dear. I'm losing my voice. We're only 10 pages in. Right, so that's chapter 1. So far, obviously, there's been no mechanics. It just sounds like you just go back and forth. It's just sort of like, you have these emergencies and solutions, perhaps. So that's fine. Again, I'm all for like talking through like a conversational stuff. That's quite fun, and if there's the framework for it, that's quite good. So characters. You'll remain in character throughout the entire game. There's no referring to your character in the third person whilst playing Viewscream, so that's a good point. So if you are somebody who plays a lot of role-playing games in third person, this might be a bit jarring for you. So instead of saying like, well, okay, my medical officer asked engineering officer a question about the alien starship, you would say, engineering, this is medical. I have a question about the alien starship. Questions about the way the game is played, guys, quick question. What does it mean if your character sheet says this? Are not spoken out loud. They are typed into the game's chat window. Okay, yes, they're out of character, in a character something. The character sheet. The character sheet is designed to fit on a single printed page. It is a simple document intended to keep ink use to a minimum, with nice large capital letters to make it easy to read by the glow of your monitor or smartphone. Because Viewscreen is even more fun if you're in a darkened room. Pro tip, if you want to have fun with your character sheet, copy and paste the text into a document that you can edit. During play, make a point to type out loudly as you delete text or when you make a note of solutions you've already used. Or, and here's the thought, guys, maybe the character sheets we get are editable. Actually, this is the point now where I'm going to actually look up and grab a copy, and we can have a look at one, because I don't think we're going to get one, and that's fine. So, Viewscream. No results. I know. Oh, it's because I spelled scream wrong. Viewscream, ice cream. Type right into the mic loudly. Yeah. Alright, and all I'm doing, I'm just going to pick the first scenario that comes up. I've done it backwards. It's backwards alphabetical for some reasons. We'll go yellow sign, and I'm going to pick... Oh, well, I could, I'll pick bridge. That makes sense. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab this one. I bet it's not going to show me now. I'll be really embarrassed. Alright, let me see. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's open... Scenarios? No, that's not it. What am I talking about? There we go. New thing. So, there we go. So this is an example from a scenario called Yellow Sign. So this is the bridge one. So we've got the top. You will find a solution. An optimistic and brave commanding officer, trapped in the command deck. You know surgery for many years. A trusted advisor. Medical. Your sibling is stubborn and obnoxious. So that's your sort of character brief as a player. And then you have read this aloud, so hailing all frequencies. This is a transmission from the command deck of the Yellow King. Oh, well, we know how bad the Yellow King is going to be. Whilst en route to the Hygeus cluster, we've experienced severe malfunctions. Most of the crew members are dead. The 4 of us who survived have been infected with some kind of nanovirus, requesting immediate assistance. Ooh, and then you've got, presumably this is a secret of the truth. You are wearing a mask. Perhaps it's figurative, or perhaps it's literal, like some kind of dermal synthetic, or perhaps the face of a dead crew member. What? Oh my god. Whatever the case, you are not who you appear to be. Write the details in the space below. Just before you ask the other crew members for forgiveness, tell them the truth about your character. Wow. Okay. slides in and takes a seat. Hello, Sam. Hello. How are you doing, my friend? Yes, you've just arrived in time for us to go through a character sheet of the view screen scenario. Let them know you're making notes like a passive-aggressive interviewer. I don't think they mean their literal face, right? I think it's however you take it, right? You're wearing a mask. Perhaps it's figurative, or perhaps maybe it's literal, some kind of synthetic, or perhaps a face for dead crew member. Heck, I love that. I kind of love that. And then we've got some and then how you frame the scene. So begin with each scene with this is the bridge. Bridge to X. Pull anyone you want into a conversation. When a scene is over, start a new one. You do not need to be in every scene. Right, so that's how you set up the scenes. You'd be like, someone needs help. Bridge, talk to sensors, etc. And then push forward. Demand status reports. You need to know how many emergencies are still unresolved. Find out who has solutions they can use. Get the crewmates talking. You are in charge of this game. And then let's spoil this one first. The ending the game. So when all the solutions have been used up for all players, it is over. If all the players' emergencies are solved, the character lives. It is your job to find out how many emergencies and solutions remain. You must ask the doomed characters to forgive you, see below. And one by one, you must ask the crew members for last words, then deliver your own, and the game is over. So your fate is forgiveness. The only way you can survive this particular scenario is if you're forgiven by one of the characters who is not going to make it. If there's more than one, you can ask them all. You can't ask to be forgiven by someone who's going to survive. If no one forgives you, then the path to your escape pod is blocked, and you're trapped on the ship. Your last words should reflect this. If at least one of them forgives you, then your character will be able to make it to the escape pod and will be able to survive. And that's it. That's all we have on this character sheet. So we don't have any emergencies or solutions. So I'm going to pick up another one. See what we have here. Heck, I quite like that. So that's your overall. That's a facilitator role. So we've got surgery, medical, and cryo. Well, let's go to cryo. What's in cryo? This is Among Us. Yeah. I'm obsessed with this idea. Just print out their profile and cut some eye holes. Oh my god, that would be absolutely incredible. Okay, so we're going to look at cryo for this particular, the red sign. So you always find a way. You are fast-talking and clever cryogenic specialist, hiding in the stasis chamber. Surgery is a pompous idiot who doesn't understand anything. You rely on medical, your old pal from way back. Emergencies. So these are immediate threats to your life. Other players have to solve these for you. Cross them off as they're resolved. So there is something in the morgue. Maybe more than one of them. Whatever it is, I think it's in the cadaver storage unit and it's trying to get out. I've got some kind of parasite in my blood. It's tiny. I barely noticed it when I was doing a routine sanguinary scan. It's moving fast and it's doing something to my capillaries. Worse, I think it's making its way to my heart. And then we've got the solutions. So use the solutions to solve other players' emergencies. Be creative. Pick one. Describe how you will use it to solve an emergency. After 1 or 2 minutes, reveal success or failure. No ambiguity. The other players should know whether it worked or not. Either way, cross it off the list. So we have for this, oh my god, we've got 3, but 2 of them are failures. Oh no. So the first one is, maybe I can activate the prognosis terminal in your sector and link it to this ship's old brain frame. It's still isolated, so it should be safe. Fails. What if I synthesize a narco stimulant and upload it to the organic printer? That's a success. And then I'm going to try to overload the macro pathogen resonator and see if we can spark a feeding frenzy amongst the synthetic viruses. Then we can use the last surviving specimen. Also a failure. For most of the game, your friend Medical has your respect. Then, unfortunately, partway through the game session, you're going to learn an very unpleasant truth. Your old friend Medical murdered a woman named Constance. The second time that someone tries to help you with one of your emergencies, whether the attempt succeeds or fails, your character finds proof of Medical's crime. Shortly after that, you must confront Medical and using this exact phrase, admit it, Medical. You killed Constance. Then let Medical explain. This is great. Oh my god. I love this. So juicy. R.I.P. Constance. That's a very cool win condition. I like the role-playing prompts and the baked-in character relationships. This game was designed for actors to do their thing. I admire the game that sets out its stall unapologetically. Yeah, I agree, Alexander. It's yeah, because I was like, I'm not sure. Like, again, the conversation is good, but there's like there's 35 of these scenarios. This is just the first one that I came up with. Constance is the face Bridge is wearing. Ah! Yeah, this is sounding awesome, Fiona. I don't know what you were talking about. It sounds like an absolute ball. No, all right, hang on. Hang on. I know what it's just going through the scenario, like, it feels very dated, the PDF. But these, like, okay, holding up my hands, I might have been wrong. Sorry, I'm gonna get the other two character sheets out. I want to read these now. Okay, so we've got medical, and we've got surgery. Okay, right. Well, what do we want to? I mean, let's keep medical for now. We'll find out about that. I want to see what surgery says. Okay, got to go, which is a shame because I'm having a blast. Oh, no worries, Alexander. Well, thank you so much for popping in, my friend. We're gonna do a few more of these this week, so hopefully you'll be around for that. But no worries. Thank you so much. Okay, so surgery. At the top, we've got panic is the product of emotion. Solemn and formal chief surgical officer. Hiding bravely in the examination room. Cryo is a flippant imbecile with no attention span. And Bridge is an old comrade, but also a coward. Alright, emergency. So these are the emergency threats to life. I don't know how to say this, but I just found my corpse. I found a dead body that just looks like me. How is this possible? I need to verify that I'm really me, and that this is some kind of replica or clone. Otherwise, I'll sure to go mad. Okay, the equipment in this room has been taken over by some sort of sentient fungus. I don't know how it works, but it's clearly intelligent because it knows how to wield a bone saw. I've barricaded myself in here, but it's just a matter of time before it gets through. This is the Doctor Who stuff I want, by the way, guys. I want sentient funguses that can, or sentient fungi that holds bone saws. These are all excellent. All right, the solutions we got. So again, we've got 3 solutions, 2 failures, and 1 success. So this is the thing. So we're definitely not going to have all successes for stuff. I can try to upload the protein sequence to take out of the spinal fluid we extracted from that xenomorph, which is a failure. Let me recalibrate your epidermal manipulator. And you can switch it to the production mode. I know, it's a huge risk, but it might work. I'm going to synthesize a chemical node using your RNA, positioning. You'll have to remain very still, though. There's a lot of drama. It could all go book wild in play, but with the right group, I bet it would rock. Yeah, I think so too. Like you said when we were looking at the PDF, like, it's the pacing of it. Like, it's up to the Bridge to be like, okay, slow it down, like, checking in with people, and then go, right, there's an emergency, let's go. Well, here we go, so the yellow sign. So you found something, a mathematical curve, a sine wave like no other. You call it the yellow sign. This smooth oscillation undulates like a tentacle. And as you stare at it, you know that an epiphany is forthcoming. Before gameplay begins, write down the truth your character will discover. It has something to do with all the crew members that died on the ship, and it will definitely involve the phrase, "You, sir, should unmask." After all your emergencies have been used, your character realizes the truth and immediately shares the revelation with all the other characters. Damn. Ah! Alright. I know we're ready. We're going to look at medical. We're going to find out what happened to Constance. Oh, come on, medical. Oh, you're not going to open for me. Come on, medical. Oh. No, it's now going to open like billions of times, probably. Open. No, it's not opening. It knows I want it to open. Alright, let me try and cut these ones down. Or maybe it's open it on a different... Open it on a different thing? No. Oh, medical. No. Yeah, it's not opening for some reason. That's so weird. I clearly got too excited. Ooh. Alright, let me tell you what. I can try and read it from my medical. There we go. Tell you what. I'm going to switch. This is too exciting. Let's do that. There you go. So we got it on my drive at least. So medical is never compromise and stick to your guns. Stubborn and demanding a medical chief medical examiner. Hiding in the sickbay. Bridge, your sibling, is weak and ineffectual. Cryo is an old friend and reliable in a crisis. Emergency. So I've got some kind of fungal contamination in here. I may have inhaled it because my Vex scan is showing massive growths in my sinus cavities. Ah! And soon they will spread to my frontal lobe. Help. My nervous system is shutting down in sections. Someone is accessing it remotely and turning off my nervous system in each limb, then turning it back on. It's only a matter of time before they know how to shut down my brain. Okay, solutions. I could optimize the cortical transducer and boost the signal in your sector. Earlier. What if I modified the vascular relay? I could upload the retroviral chains to your web drive. That weirdly is a success. I'm going to tele-transport that black market extracellular compound to your location. I know we're never supposed to use it, but what choice do we have? That's also a success. Wait, you got 2 successes in this one. Admit it, medical. You killed Constance. You did something terrible. You didn't mean to. Or, well, perhaps you did. You killed someone. Her name was Constance, and she was a crew member on this ship. Everyone liked her. Who was she? Why did your character kill her? What happened? Write down the answers to this question in the space below. At some point, someone will say, admit it, medical. You killed Constance. At that point, confess the truth. Ah, very good. Very, very good. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I've just realised I'm actually reading it from I'm reading it from Adobe Reader. You guys can see it on there. Typical. If I change back, there you go. You can actually see the same thing. Right, so that is an example of the. Okay, I might have gone into this not realising how great these scenarios could be. I mean, that was a yellow sign one, so interesting. I like that. But anyway, so we've got description, location, emergencies. There are 2 major threats that could kill your character, and solutions which are technology-based devices or skills that can help other characters. Suspicion is something that you're investigating, or random big space they're anxious about, and then the secret, a dark truth you're trying to hide that always gets revealed. I think that's nice. Yeah, like Alexander was saying in the chat, we now have these like 6 sort of prompts just to go for it, and yeah, the game of like, and that idea that you don't have to accept an offer of help. You're like, no, I'm gonna try something else. So because you won't be able to tell which one of these succeeds or fails until it's revealed afterwards. So your character is established by the first few lines on your character sheet. For example, say if you're playing surgical, the first lines of the character sheet will kind of read as follows. So you're out of pills and you're very nervous, burnt out and paranoid surgical attendant, trapped in the morgue. Cryo treats you like a child, but you still crave respect. You and Bridge fought in the war together, but Bridge has changed. This section of the character sheet gives your character's personality, role, and location. The first line tells you about your current situation and state of mind. Clearly, surgical relies on some kind of medication and has run out. Right, so that's how you would break it down, perhaps. The details are vague. Is surgical nervous because this is some kind of life-saving medicine? Or is surgical addicted to recreational drugs and going through withdrawal? As a player, this is your choice. Very true, but again, maybe we need that session 0 or expectations just to be like, hey, I don't want to have addiction in my game. That's the only thing I'd say. Like, maybe if it's life-saving drugs, that could be quite interesting. I see we're going to go into lots of detail here, which is fair. The second line tells you about your personality. So here, you're not a confident hero, not a calm, reasonable thinker. Most characters in Viewscream are deeply flawed in some way. Regardless of whether your character is a junkie, sociopath, or coward, you still have to play the game. There is a balance that must be struck between your character's state of mind and making sure that you aren't screwing up the experience for someone else. Even if your character is hallucinating, going mad, or feeling weak from blood loss, you must continue to communicate your status to the other players. How many emergencies have you left, and which solutions can you offer to the other players? You must strike the same balance encountered in any other role-playing game, getting into character and playing a role, but also being mindful of the game's mechanics. It helps to keep the chat window open and to know the rules before you begin to play. I think that's fair. Yeah, generally quite good advice there. Excuse me. So the second line is your character's description. It also tells you your role. In this case, surgical. Your role might be engineering, helm, sensors, exo, or bridge. Or on board a medical vessel, you might be cryo, surgical, medical, or triage. All of these are shorthands for longer job titles. For instance, engineering is the ship's chief engineering officer, and exo is executive officer. I did not know that. In the cyberpunk setting of Neangeles, very good. Your character has a handle like Crypt, Grey Hat, Runner, or sysops. Oh, cool. So there's different kind of settings for it. Oh, nice. In every case, your goal is to give your character a name that's fairly standard. So every time you play a starship scenario in the Viewscreen, you can assume you'll be encountering engineering, helm, sensors, and so forth. This makes it a little bit easier to remember than giving each individual crew member a unique rank and surname. I quite like it. Like, calling the department and maybe not ever calling the person by their name. Because I know with the RP Geeks one, yeah, I think I have it open somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, I do. I've not played it. So I won't play it, but you can see it here. Look at these geeky chaps. Which says try not to play the thing. You also see my in there. But yeah, they have the engineers. They have names there and obviously pronouns, which is all good, and all makeup up as well, which is great. But one thing I would say, I think you don't need character names for it. I think if you just refer to each other as engineering or a bridge, I think that could be quite thematic as well. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. Ugh. Ah, Sergeant Kowalski. That's an alien reference if ever I saw one. And Lieutenant Ramirez. So the fourth and subsequent lines tell you about your relationships with other characters. You want Cryo to be more respectful, and you feel the bridge is no longer the same person you fought beside. These relationship descriptions give you something to work with, particularly in those crucial first few moments of the game. It's not enough to acknowledge the information to yourself. For instance, you know that Bridge is an old friend, you fought together in war. Instead, you need to communicate it to the other players through your tone, facial expressions, and choice of words when you're talking to the Bridge. These relationship descriptions should guide your interactions with other players. And there's an example one here. So let's say another character is behaving strangely. If that character was described as a friend or a sibling, you might react in one way with concern. It's like, is everything okay? You can talk to me. On the other hand, if that character is described on your character sheet as someone that you despise, then you might not want to help. You might become suspicious, or instead of responding directly, you might initiate a conversation with another character. I think Helm is going insane. Don't believe anything that Helm says. Location. So the third line gives you the morgue. Excuse me. The location is part of the ship where your character is stranded. Other characters will never visit this area, and the chances are your actual physical location probably doesn't resemble the place that your character is in. For example, if you're playing in an office, it's unlikely to resemble the command center of a futuristic starship. That's okay. You can bring your location to life by killing the lights, adding a few prompts like glowing toys or gadgets in the background, loops and coils of wire, etc. And best of all, verbal description. I mean, obviously, nowadays with Zoo, we can have virtual backgrounds and stuff, so it's not the end of the world if you want that. But I do find it's quite thrilling when you yeah, I've come into the cupboard and it's just full of like RPG like dice and stuff. Okay, describe your location when your characters ask how your character is doing. Use sharp sensory details to describe the area you're in. Textures, powerful smells, and strange visuals. When asked about emergencies, you can use this opportunity to describe the world that your other players can see. Shimmering quantum anomalies, murderous aliens, experimental medical drones, harvesting organs, the bodies of dead crew members, etc. Again, cool. could do content warnings just in case. If your character was in the cargo hold dripping with slime, say so. Naturally, if you are in a place that looks a bit like a slime-drenched cargo hold, either through bizarre coincidence or perhaps you've decorated your apartment accordingly, that's magnificent. On the other hand, if you're obviously sitting at a kitchen table, there's someone behind you petting a cat, then consider dimming the lights or taping something translucent over your camera. Ooh, I like that idea, like you having like a cloth or something like over the top like a filter. That could be quite fun. When describing your location, be sure to downplay any imagery or details that might be construed as an emergency. For instance, when you're describing the cargo bay, if you say that there are cracks in the hull, then other players might assume you're describing an emergency. And emergencies are solved by other players in order to finish the game session. However, in this hypothetical scenario, you're not actually talking about an emergency, you're describing a visual setting. This is interesting because, yeah, if you're in character, the 60-90 minutes, you can't be like, hey, I've got an emergency, there's holes in the, like if you're describing stuff, like, and you can always check and clarify in the game chat, perhaps. But yeah, you have to be careful about how you're showing the rest of the place, like rest of the crew, what you're describing as. Sorry. To minimize confusion in a case like this, you can either avoid descriptions that sound like problems. So, for example, instead of saying there are cracks in the hull, just say that there is some damage, and make sure you modify them. The cargo hold took a few hits, but we've got some cracks in the hull, but it's all under control. My real problem is this. So anytime someone mistakes your description or any other bit of dialogue for emergency and offers a solution, it's easy enough to fix. Just simply say, "Oh, I appreciate the offer, but this isn't a life or death situation. My real issue is this." Yeah, easy enough. Some nice guidance there. Alright, so emergencies. These are life-threatening problems that afflict your character. For example, perhaps you're infected with a xenovirus, or maybe you're under an attack from the ship's defense drones, which for some reason have identified you as a threat. The game ends and you're still, and if you've got still one or more unresolved emergencies, this means your character is not going to survive, and your final words during the last game moments will reflect this fact. Maybe you'll curse fate, blame other characters, or perhaps you'll take it like a stoic. On the other hand, if all of your emergencies are dealt with, then this means that you're going to survive. And you've got a clear path to the escape pod, so you can get away from the starship, or you're going to be able to jack out of the web work, or sprint off to the cyber cafe in the rain-drenched streets of Neangeles with a soft drive full of new yen. Right, so it's you're not on a spaceship then. I guess obviously certain scenarios probably have different settings. During the last seconds of the game, your final words might be an expression of gratitude to the bridge or to the other characters who helped you, a prayer for peace for those who won't survive, or maybe you'll just gloat smugly and revel in the fact that you got to live while others died. Since these emergencies tell you whether your character is going to live or die, it is crucial that you track them down. If someone promises to fix one of your emergencies with a solution, there is no guarantee of success. Don't immediately cross off the emergency. One thing I would suggest, I guess, for this stream, because it has to be done in 90 minutes, or roughly 90 minutes, I think you should set a clock that everyone can see of 90 minutes and it counts down, because that would be quite fun. And then everyone is in charge of them pacing. Wait till you've gotten confirmation from that player that the solution did actually do the job, because there's a chance that the attempt will fail, and you will need to find someone to help you with your emergency. Getting help. So during the game's first few minutes, the bridge will summon the characters one at a time. Bridge to engineering, come in engineering. Many questions will ensue. What happened? Where are the other crew members? Are you alone? Is there someone else aboard our ship? Eventually, the bridge will want to know everyone's status, and at this point you will need to start talking about your emergencies. Don't necessarily assume your character immediately knows about these as soon as the game starts. It's possible for the first few minutes, engineering is simply stunned and frightened, and then after a while becomes aware that there are serious problems in the neogastric shield generator, which is going to melt down soon with disastrous results. Even if your character, engineering, is badly injured, this may not be apparent immediately. What was initially thought to be a concussion may be a far dangerous injury. Thus, you don't want to start the story by bombarding the other players with a litany of your emergencies. Dole them out one at a time when asked by the bridge. At that point, though, the seal is broken. The emergency is capitalized for a reason. It is something that might kill you if not dealt with. Your character needs to devote energy to the pursuit of solutions which can be provided by other players. If another character asks how you're doing... Sorry. Ooh. There we go. Don't swallow that for a second for some reason. You can't just say you're fine and leave it at that. Whether your character is flippant or nonchalant, or paranoid or cowardly, you have to focus on your emergencies, and you have to ask other players to help. If you don't, you make the game harder for others, because it will be more difficult for the bridge to keep track of who needs to be helped. By the same token, there's more to this game than just involving your own emergencies. After all, you're playing a character who has existing relationships with other characters. These crew members have just been through a traumatic experience. The ship was attacked, or there was some horrific malfunction, and hundreds of people are dead. As these characters try to find out what happened, they'll also learn who else survived. Some friends, some foes, some acquaintances, and perhaps some family members. It may be that one of these people is listed on your character sheet as the person you suspect of foul play. Senses is acting strangely. Why? You saw this crew member do something unusual just before the attack. What was it? If your character is described as having hang on, grab some more water, get a calm down. Why are we rushing ahead? If your character is described as having a suspicion about another crew member, then consider it a major subplot. It's perhaps something you talk to other crew members about, and you probably even confront the suspicious character at some point. So remember that the game is also about these crucial revelations, more on suspicions and secrets later. Some characters are stoic about the emergencies they face, others flake out and go through spectacular meltdowns. Any response is valid as long as the game continues. The role-playing shouldn't interfere with the other player's experience. They should be able to talk, bargain, extort, and threaten each other while solving emergencies and revealing unpleasant secrets. Technobabble. Yes, the words I'm going to struggle with for the rest of this game. Most of this game's emergencies are utter fantasy, mere technobabble. This means you have the opportunity to make up any explanation you like. It's not as though the other players can correct you, just say whatever comes to mind. What are black matter globules? No one knows. Perhaps they're tiny black holes that eat through the ship, or anything else, and they're nearing your location. Perhaps they're spheres of antimatter from an alternative reality, and they threaten to suck your part of the ship through a black hole into another universe. Either way, they're a threat to you, and you need someone to come up with a way to get you to safety. If you don't know what a vascular nanite scanner is, rest assured that the author didn't either. It's a made-up phrase that sounds vaguely medical in some sci-fi sort of way. Something to do with the little tiny machines injected into veins, perhaps, or something that checks for artificial blood cells? Who knows? Who knows? Even as a question mark there. The technobabble is yours, so own it. When asked what is your status, tell the bridge that the vascular nanite scanner is offline, it's overheating, or it's showing that your body is flooded with nanites, and your bioorganic nodes are in the red. Someone needs to fix this for you, or you will die. By the same token, don't assume that you're supposed to know what other players' emergencies are. If someone has a problem with the, unnil hexam filtration module, just talk about it as if you've heard one, and you know exactly how to fix it. I dealt with something like this back when I was aboard the Orion. Whatever you do not try to increase the powers of the module. Here's what you do instead. This is something we talked about last week, about language in sci-fi and stuff. Like, you just make it up and just do it confidently. Like, I appreciate I didn't have a good run at these myself, but like, I vaguely could be confident with those words and vaguely know what they talk about, especially if you're like, okay, this isn't medical, or it's in surgery, or it's in cryo. That's probably where it is. So during play, you must state your emergencies to the bridge, and possibly other players, as the situation warrants. Other players will offer solutions, and you get to decide if they sound good. For example, if you're having a problem with the vascular nanite scanners, another player might say, "Oh, well, I can spin the retroviral prototype through the centrifuge. That might do the trick. What do you think?" Or, I can remote access the scanners from here using the virtual surgery console. At that point, you, as the person with the emergency, must either give the player the go-ahead, "Okay, go for it, let me know if it works," or reject the plan. "I don't think that's going to work. Sounds risky. I'm going to check with Cryo to see if they can offer me another solution instead." Since we've established that some solutions are doomed to fail and some are actually going to succeed, there's really no way of knowing whether something actually sounds risky. So if you reject someone's offer of aid, it's either because you got a hunch, they've already successfully helped one or more players, and you're thinking that maybe they're out of successful solutions, which means you accept that offer of aid is not going to work. That's fair. Or 3, there's something in the way of that player is acting that makes you think that this is a really bad plan. Maybe that character just has it out for you, and they're trying to get you killed by wasting your time with unsuccessful solutions. If you accept someone's offer of help, you have to wait a few minutes to find out whether it worked or not, as the character tries to fix the problem. You might even have to ask for an update if you're feeling you've waited long enough. The other player will tell you that it was a success. "Okay, success! I've extracted the prototype from the centrifuge and it's stable. I'm going to upload the base code to the brain frame so you can download and print it on your end. You can thank me later." Or a failure. "Damn, it didn't work. I extracted the prototype from the centrifuge, but it's not coherent. It's deconstructing as we speak. I'm sorry." The The first case, a success, then you cross off the emergency on your character sheet and that's the end of it. You're one step closer to surviving the game. In the second case, which is a failure, you don't make any adjustments to the character sheet. You've still got an emergency that needs to be dealt with. Maybe you ask the same player for another solution, and maybe you ask another character for help, or maybe you talk to Bridge to see if they can patch you through to someone else. Interesting. Yeah, I like this idea. I will say, a bit long-winded, like, I get the idea, like, yes, I understand it. I would say these other, obviously these play examples, they're fine. I mean, it would be nice to know that they're actually play examples. I'm having to read all of them just in case they're not. The conversational style that this game is. So, solutions. Solutions are used to fix other players' emergencies. All solutions are remote. If you create an antidote or vaccine, your character won't be injecting it, but instead you'll upload it to the web work so that the synthetic generator on the other end of the ship can reproduce it for the other character. If there are hostile aliens aboard the ship, you won't fight them, but you'll openly remote an airlock that have the xenomorphs sucked into space, and you'll activate the ship's security drones and direct them to attack. This is all introduced to the game through your descriptions, of course, unless you specifically created audiovisual aids to communicate the effects of the players. Ooh, what, like sci-fi sound effects? Maybe background music. That could be quite fun. If each person is responsible for their own sort of like background visuals and also audio, like when they're coming through, like they're coming through like on an intercom and they're like the sounds of like, I don't know, aliens, like noises in the background. That'd be quite fun. So the procedure. So each solution is marked as success or failure. During play, you propose a solution to another player, but won't say if it's going to succeed or fail. Yes, we know this. After all, your character doesn't know yet, even if you, the player, can see what's written on the page. This is an opportunity to roleplay the situation out. If your character is calm and neutral, they can offer a logical explanation for the proposed solution. If, on the other hand, your character is a belligerent and impatient, you might snap something nasty and offer a condescending explanation, presumably what's happening in this play example here. If the player accepts your proposed solution, don't reveal the success or failure right away. Tell them you work on it and you need to check something, or you'll be back to them in a few minutes. You might mute your microphone, or you might switch to another conversation with another character. After a few minutes, you'll check back with the player whose emergency you're trying to solve, and at that point, you'll reveal whether it has worked. It should be done in an unambiguous manner. It should be clear to anyone whether you've been able to help or not. There shouldn't be a question of whether you're still working on the problem. If you failed, you can say something like, I don't know what went wrong. The tachyon manipulation console displays numerous malfunctions and I can't get it back online. I'm sorry I let you down. Maybe someone else can help you. Or if you succeeded, you might say, it worked. I was able to use my console to destabilize the parallel quark field. That's fun. If you get some enthusiastic people who are willing to play with the sound and visuals, that could be really nifty. Yeah, I agree, Liz. Like, again, because I can imagine if you got, like, various RPG streamers who are able to set up their background to a certain extent, whether it's through, like, a green screen or whatever, but then have a soundboard as well, and get these characters beforehand. I think, yeah, again, it feels like it's more like, no prep, just go and play. I think if you give them up the day beforehand, that, like, to go stuff, and then you can do stuff like the coils idea it had in the visuals. But yeah, having to be, like, when it comes to you, you could patch through the sound of, like, if you were in, I don't know, engineering, the sounds of, like, steam vents, like, venting out every so often. That could be quite interesting and very immersive. That would be quite fun. The other thing as well, I realise, is that, yeah, it could be audio-visual, because obviously it's meant to be view screen. Easily could just be audio only. And then that would be fun, because then you can really test the accessibility of, like, you know, describing stuff. So everyone will have their cameras off, and it is just voice only. I think it's something I find is that people, you know, obviously like to have video, because then they can see people about to react. But then I don't think, I think this is an emergency. You could have conversations, and they'll be like, bridge to engineering, like breaking into other conversations, and they're like, oh, I gotta go, engineering out, and then like, engineering to bridge, you know, like, as long as you've got the established who is talking to who, by saying that bridge to engineering, bridge to medical, etc. That could be quite fun. If you can't remember exactly what you're supposed to be fixing, because it happens, just keep the details vague. No one will care. Just use the solution on your character sheet and be clear about the success or failure. As an example there, after you use the solution, whether it succeeds or fails, cross it out on your character sheet and it can't be used again. You might offer a solution to someone who rejects it because it sounds risky, or because they don't trust you, or for some other reason. In that case, don't cross it off, just save it for later. Another player might ask you to help. And it's not over till all the solutions have been used, whether they succeed or fail. Because the game is rigged, you'll always end the game with all solutions used up, but at least one emergency left unresolved, so we always have a death. I think that's interesting, because then it requires you, as a player, to be a bit more improv-y. Say, for example, this console thing, so what was it? The tachyon manipulation console. So you say, like, hey, I could use this to help with the stuff in your blood. And they go, ooh, no thank you. You go, okay. And then someone else goes, oh, the vents are shutting. I goes, oh, well, I can use my tachyon manipulation console to help you with that. I think you maybe just need to be ready to, like, justify the solution a little bit, perhaps. Audio only is fun. These stress call voice notes. Oh yes, exactly that. That could be quite good. Like, yeah, like it's only like you even break it down into that. Like, it's just, again, WhatsApp in that sense of, like, we have British engineering come in bridge, and everyone can listen to it coming through, but you can only have one person speaking at one time. That could be quite good, quite interesting. I like that. Like, literally breaking it down so that it's not a two-way conversation. It's one way, then a one way, then a one way. Doomed? There may be a situation where you've got one solution left and it's marked for failure. You're being asked to help another player, but you, the player, know that your remaining solution is doomed to fail. Too bad. You can't lie to the bridge, and even if you stall for a minute or two, you can't decline to help another character. If another character asks for help with an emergency, you explain the solution on your character sheet, and the other player gives you the go-ahead or not. And that's that. You have to say you're working on it, and then after a few minutes, check back in and say your solution didn't work. You might not like it, but you genuinely wanted to help the other player, but that's the way the game is set up. Yeah, I think so. Again, it's that setting that expectation at the beginning of, like, yeah, some of these things do not work, and you're like, I'm trying, and this is all I've got. Like, I can imagine you feeling bad, but I think as long as everyone else is on the same page, like, one person's going to be screwed over, that's okay. Look at this image. Whoa. That's a pretty good image, isn't it? No alt text, obviously, but this will probably be. I wonder if this is the expanded. No, it won't, because they'll have that in the scenarios folder. Secrets. Warning: reading this warning may cause suspendment. Okay, many characters have secrets. For example, you're not you. You're not actually a member of the ship's crew, although they all believe you are. Who are you really? Write down the answer in the space below. I love secrets like this. This is your way of putting your stamp on the game session. Who are you? An alien? An enemy saboteur? An extra-dimensional consciousness that's assumed alien form in order to understand Homo sapiens? A robot? A clone? The secret can only be kept for so long. Eventually, you're going to confess. This confession is typically triggered by a specific circumstance, so this is where those prompts come in. So either when someone utters a specific phrase, when something happens in the game, when someone tries to help you but the solution fails, or when a specific amount of time passes. Nice, we've got 3 different triggers there. That's quite good. You must then follow the instructions on your character sheet, divulging the truth that you have created. Some of these secrets are open-ended, meaning that you, the player, get to decide what is being concealed. It is up to you to define the trope of your character's weakness. Are you secretly a heroic character or a monstrous sadist? For example, you may be asked, what did you do on Zekaron 4? The answer, probably, hopefully, something really horrific. It's up to you. If there is a secret involving a specific phrase, be sure you're ready for it. For instance, someone at some point might say, engineering, tell me the truth, damn it. When it's asked exactly like that, you need to furnish the confession, answer the question, reveal your true identity, or what have you. There must be no deception or minimizing. This can be an excellent opportunity to shift the game's momentum and mood, driving it completely off the rails. If you're playing a heroic character and everyone has been using successful solutions to try and help you survive, then the reveal that you're actually a sociopath or a hostile alien is surely going to bring out some negativity in the others. Good. Secrets can be revealed early on or late in the game. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that the truth comes out eventually with unpredictable results. Love that. Ooh, another cracking image there. Again in black and white, but no alt text. Again, no reason. I don't know why this is here right at the end of the book. Ending. So the end game. Are we on? Oh, we're an hour and a half. Okay. In-game starts when the bridge has determined that all players have used up their solutions. At this point, there is nothing else that can be done for anyone who's still got outstanding emergencies. These players are going to have to die. Same old, same old. However, any characters whose emergencies have been solved will live. After it's clear that some will live and some will die, the bridge will either make an announcement, ask a question, or otherwise interact with the crew one last time. It is important to respond to the bridge at this point. It doesn't matter if your character is a hostile alien, a psychotic killer, a traitor, a coward, or a gibbering lunatic. If the bridge asks a yes-no question, then you must answer it directly. It is necessary in order for the game to conclude. Don't forget. After this last bit of business, the bridge will name each character one by one and ask the last words. You, the player, now know if your character is going to live or die. Your last words should reflect this. Your last words should be a short speech, a final monologue to wrap things up. This can be a tearful farewell, smug standoff, a hateful rant, prayer for mercy, or whatever occurs to you. And now we've got a player example that's like actual script text. They've got bridge, engineering. This is bridge. I'm so sorry. We tried. We truly did. Do you have any last words? No. It was an honor to serve with you, Bridge. As for the rest of you, I hope you burn in hell. I have never worked with a bunch of sorrier and so on and so forth. Or Bridge. This is Bridge to sensors. Do you copy? Sensors here. Looks like I got a clear path to the escape pod, so as soon as I sign off, I'm going to open the hatch and run like hell. I have to be honest with you. I don't think I was going to make it. I wish I could take you all with me. But when I get to the planet's surface, I'll tell the world that I served with the best damn crew, and so on and so forth. At the end of your last words, sign off with, do a sign off, so engineering out, this is medical signing off, and mute your microphone. Never interrupt anyone else's last words. It is a monologue. The bridge goes last, and then the game's over. Death typically happens offline as the last words, but you've really got a fun... Oh, but if you've got a really fun way to work your death into your last words, then go for it. After the bridge is signed off, you might choose to stick around and talk about the game afterwards. It's up to the players. Or absolutely, you'd need to debrief after this sort of thing. Yeah. Just like, oh, that was really cool. What a cool portrayal. Whose face were you wearing? Who's Constance? You know. And so that's the main mechanics of the game. They've got 10 more pages of advice, which I guess we can look at quickly. Sure. Well, let's have a look at it. So dialogue. To keep it simple, if you're not comfortable with technobabble, or you're feeling a bit of nerves about improv, you can keep stumbling short with these using short, direct sentences. As for the word themselves, your decisions and dialogue should drive home these three things: the emergencies, doom, and paranoia. The crises you're all facing are life-threatening. There's no way of dealing with them on their own. You need the help of other crew members, even if you don't trust some of them. The game's tone is sinister. Your ship is not just in danger. You've seen some dead walk. You've seen dozens of people ripped apart by cosmic anomalies, and you've seen something vast and horrid coiling itself around the ship. Even if you do talk about the good times you and engineering shared when you were a stellar colonialist back in Proyon 3, it should be in contrast to those fond memories with the horrible situation you're now in. Paranoia. Even those you trust may turn on you or exhibit behaviors that cause you to question their loyalty or sanity. You'll have to rely on those whom you despise if you want to escape. Alternatively, you might just be the lunatic, traitor, or alien on board this vessel, in which case you should definitely try to foster some sweet paranoia amongst your shipmates. I like that. I think, yes, I will say, I get it is pretty much in character. It's the in-character stuff that's doomed, so you don't break character. I like how you don't interrupt anyone's ending monologue. You're on mute. You can react to it. But I know I'm very bad. I go, oh no, you didn't. I'm very much a panto player at the best of times. So I like that you have to mute. You can't interrupt any other conversation because you can't hear it. I quite like that as a result. Delivery. Your delivery shouldn't be the same as that of other players. If there are 4 characters in the game and one's a pill-popping burnout, one's a sarcastic bully, one's a pious stoic, and the other's a jovial risk-taker, and they all sound the same, then something's gone wrong. Decide who you want to be and what you sound like whilst you're reading your character sheet. Yeah, again, I can understand. I think the small prompts from the character sheet do help a little bit, and they can give you enough to go go off as a result. Anecdotes. If it matters, if the scene is important, don't state the obvious. For instance, your character just killed someone and you've just been found out. Don't just confess like, yes, I killed him, and leave it at that. Talk about food? Oh, I see. So, I see. Okay, I'm gonna read it out. But yeah, I just read the last sentence, so just be careful. So, talk about food. The way you miss the taste of a good meal, years of eating protein slurry out of a tube. Mention your childhood on Earth, butchering livestock on the farm. They were all clones of the same pig, of course, so it was like killing the same thing over and over again. Repetitive, but kind of fun, because I always felt like maybe each clone knew what the others had learnt. Sure, I slit Admiral Mackenzie's throat. It felt just like hanging that pig from its ankles and putting the blade to its neck whilst it squealed. It was nostalgic. Isn't that better than saying I killed him? Wow. Okay. Yes. You don't enjoy obvious plot twists when watching a movie or reading a novel. So when it counts, when it's important, dig down into yourself and pull up something nasty and unexpected. That's what makes for an intense and memorable game. There's nothing wrong with thinking about this before the play or rehearsing a bit of a speech or two. Anecdotes about ex-lovers, former co-workers, parents, anything like that can be useful in some way. Tidbits about science, especially biology, are also fun material. Consider the reproductive process of the wasp spider, the parasitic nature of the tongue-eating louse, or the life cycle of a word I absolutely cannot say, the ichneumon wasp. These make for delightful bedtime readings and will also enhance any monologues you feel like working into the game, such as your last words or a confession when your secret has been discovered. Pace. Remember, you don't want to start the game by firing off all your emergencies and solutions. Give the game room to breathe. Start by articulating your reaction to the situation. Share your character's reaction with the other players. Your character is one of a few people that survives a horrible event, so alien attack, bombardment by meteors, collision with another ship, whatever. And your odds of survival are slim. What is your character's response? Suspicion? Panic? Anger? Treachery? Will you do what it takes to survive? Will you cling on to some moral code and willingly go down the ship before you violate the ethical standards you hold dear? Describe your, in brackets, ominous grisly surroundings and make the other players see what you're looking at. Since they'll all be looking at your face, it's your words, your facial expressions, and body language that will establish the tone. Allude to the relationships on your character sheet. If you and engineering are siblings, don't just mention it to engineering. Talk about it to Bridge. Just promise me, whatever happens, you're going to look after my sister. You're going to get her out of this alive. Swear it to me. Eventually, Bridge will want status updates or sit reps. Situation reports. I didn't know that was called that. At a point, you'll describe one of your emergencies. After that, you may want to get roped into a conversation about someone else's crisis, which you can remedy with one of your solutions. Early on, use the material on your character sheet to find out what's going on. I quite like that. It's got, again, some advice. It feels like, again, this is a game aimed at new people to LARP and improv a little bit. And the character sheets that we looked at, they had some interesting prompts on them. Maybe could have done with a little bit more on that front. I'm late. What are we looking about today? Hello, Sakaya. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you. Yes, Among Us, the tabletop RPG is pretty much accurate. Yeah, we're looking at something called Viewscream, which came out about just over 10 years ago now, so 2013. And it's basically what if Among Us, but as a remote RPG that we could all play together. It's good fun though. We've had a pretty good blast. You know what? Once we finish this, if we've got time, I might look for another scenario because they were quite fun. The camera. So the rectangular space of the screen is the realm of which you inhabit, but you can extend the size and shape of it. If you're looking off to the camera, describing something that's in the cargo hold whilst you're adjusting to it, the other players will mentally fill in that space. I do that all the time, by the way, in role-playing games. Whenever I'm talking to someone and then I do that as if someone else is talking to me. I deliberately do it, and nothing's there. But like, we must leave now. And like, who's speaking to you? Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. And you just look off and not listen, and not pay attention to the screen. It's great. If you're looking off to the side, If you're describing a long, narrow corridor ahead of you, then space becomes real during the game. Whilst it's natural to try and make eye contact with the other players by looking into their faces during play, this is actually makes you appear downcast. Yeah, because you're probably looking down here, like at the screen, rather than like up here into the camera. Many players use their cameras perched on top of their monitors or laptops embedded in their screen, above the screen. This means you're looking at the faces on your screen, the other people look down at the point of view below the camera, so I'm doing that now. Whereas if I'm looking into the camera, I can see that. I just can't see what you're doing yet. Yeah, in a face-to-face conversation, it would look like you're staring down at someone's midsection. What are those? To avoid this, you can look directly into the camera while speaking, and then look to the faces of the screen while listening. It takes a little getting used to, but the end result is that in conversations, all players seem to be making eye contact with the screen. Try it. Yeah, we did this, like, again, pandemic improv, where he's like, try looking at this, and then every so often, like, glancing down just to double check, because it looks so good as a viewer, so to speak. This is a fun sci-fi horror LARP, probably. Well, I think it sounds fun. Yes, I do think it sounds fun as well. I think it's... Yeah, I think there's things to do. I'm already excited to see how we can do this. Put reading materials, for example, speech notes or printed rules, near the camera but not on the desk in front of you. If there's something in your character sheet that you need to read, then tape it to the wall behind or above your camera so it's not obvious that you're glancing at your notes. Oh, that's quite interesting. I usually have things, again, because it has it out, it's not got editable documents. So again, I would just have it as a document and have it like as close to the camera as possible. One technique that works well is copy and paste your character sheet into an editable document and edit it. Or just have them already, you know? Given to us. You can delete the section from your character sheet or highlight to indicate it's been used. This will result in you typing noisily or tapping the touchscreen of your tablet. God, in 2013 we had touchscreen tablets. That's great. It makes sense. You're going to repolarize the tachyon core. Perhaps you have to type in a command or use a touchscreen interface to get it done. Like most mics now don't catch those background noises, but I can imagine you can go, okay, background noise, clack, 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 clack. That's blah, blah, blah. Going offline. Your character needs to leave a scene. For example, Bridge wants to talk to engineering in private, or your character's supposed to go to see what's making the noise in the character. Mute your microphone and turn off your camera. This is also useful if you need to take a break and go for a drink or what have you. No, don't. Again, obviously, open door policy. If you need to go, that's fine. Interesting. Just remember to unmute your microphone when you return. Your character might want to fade into the background for a moment to continue listening to a conversation without participating. This sort of eavesdropping can create drama for someone that assumes your character is offline. If you're in a dark room and your face is lit by the glow of the monitor, move your seat back just a few inches. Will cause you to pretty much vanish into darkness. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, VARP, video LARP. I understand you. Love the video chat advice from 2013. I know, man. It feels so good. That honestly sounds like a huge amount of fun. I had no idea that they had made an RPG. I mean, technically, it's not Among Us the RPG. It's got the same vibes about it. And yeah, this absolutely would have made so much sense to do in the pandemic if we'd heard about it. At a table, crosstalk is easier to manage. Online, you have to be aware of interruptions and crosstalk because it's a very slight bit of lag, combined with the software's tendency to enlarge the window of whoever's talking and can make crosstalk unbearable. That's if you've got active viewer speak mode, right? None of this Zoom stuff where we're all in boxes. Most good scenes involve 2 or 3 speakers. If 5 people are all talking at once, it'll be very hard to make sense of what's actually going on. That can be great for a single scene, but because it helps create a palpable sense of chaos and insanity, but it shouldn't be the norm for the entire game. When in doubt, duck out of a scene and then pop back in for the next one. By the same token, if you're in a heated exchange with Bridge and Medical drops out of the scene, excuse yourself from the following scene so Medical gets a turn. If you are Bridge and there are too many speakers at once, don't hesitate to throw your weight around. Order a character to stand down and say, I'll be with you in a moment. Sign out, please. I will need to speak to Medical right now. And drawing a blank. There are some times when you literally can't think of anything to say, rather than staring blankly at your screen. Just tell Bridge that you have something you need to deal with, then mute your microphone. Better yet, throw a false Freudian slip in that you want to make everyone nervous. I need to go talk to them. They say it's almost, big gap, time. What? Who are you talking to? Who are they? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I said I need to check on the sublight propulsion drives. Be back in a minute. Actually, that was a good thing that it said in the Keeper's Tips guide I was reading recently. Again, lines and veils, session 0 stuff, but it was like, mention something and then deny you've ever mentioned it. So it gave the example of like, you look up, you see a face at the window, and then you don't speak anymore, and they go, well, what does it look like? What does what look like? The face at the window. What face at the window? I never said there was a face at the window. Again, I like that. For me, I love that sort of stuff. But 100%, if you know, gaslighting is a line, we don't have that in the game. I like that as a technique you could use. So similar here, but it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I must go. They're calling me. Who's calling you? I don't know what you're talking about. Nope. Let them deal with the fallout from that whilst you mute your microphone and collect your thoughts. Once you're no longer tongue-tied, then get back into the game. Sometimes a bit of dead air is unavoidable. This is awkward and slows down the pace. When in doubt, kill the dead air by asking another player a question. I mean, it's always it's getting people used to doing online play, and I think it comes that sort of thing comes from a good. When you have a good bridge or a good facilitator, it's good, but like, okay, there's a little bit of dead air. I now move in and do stuff. So I think it's up to the facilitator to move the thing forward. But also, I like this, like, yeah, if in doubt, ask a different player a question. Use your relationships to keep the conversation moving. If your character sheet says you served in the war with another player, ask them about it. You never talk about the war. We were stationed at the same base, but you never told me what happened. What did you do? Did you see any action? Even if the other characters insist that there isn't time to talk about things, you've done a few things. You've established the relationship, perhaps suggested to another player your character is starting to crack, and possibly caused another player to think that maybe your war buddy has something to hide. So yeah, I like that as a theme. Alternatively, you could rant about the situation, complain about someone's failures of leadership, the bridge is incompetent, engineering hasn't fixed a single emergency, we're all going to die, or express your pain and or fear. I think the other thing I would like to add to this game is I like being able to do like, you know, bridge to engineering, come in engineering, like, because it's all happening in real time. I like that. But I'd also say maybe you could also do like video logs, like monologues for video logs. If you're like, oh, this could go in here, maybe like video log 23. I'm just documenting the next couple of hours, what's happening in medical reporting, you know, that sort of thing, and just doing a straight scene to camera. And it doesn't have to be too long or short, but it could just be like everyone gets one like monologue token. You know, we talked about this with Good Society. You have this idea where you can spend it, and you go, I'm going to talk about my feelings and what I think just now. And I can't, and maybe it's a way you can reveal something about your character. It doesn't involve emergencies or solutions, perhaps. But I like that idea that it's not all 2-person or 3-person scenes. You could just do a video log that would fit in quite well into this sort of story structure, I think. Then we've got deflection. When someone tells you about the emergency, you have to offer a solution at some point, especially if you're being asked point blank to help. However, you can delay your offer of solution for a minute or two. This makes things very weird in a wonderful way. Let's see. So it says, I might be able to help with that, you say, but first I got a question for you and I want you to take this seriously because our lives depend on it. Then throw out a question pertaining to the adventure's story. Maybe it's a question that actually listed on your character sheet, or maybe it's inspired by something the bridge has said during this stress signal. Or just something you saw mentioned in the scenario synopsis. This accomplishes a few things. It creates a weird tension around your characters. After all, why wouldn't you just help out? What are you really up to? This is good. Suspicion is important. It feeds the paranoia and distrust. Postpones the resolution of that particular emergency. It creates tension between you and the character you're supposed to be helping. Now you have a reason to bring up the character's dislike for the other character, or the sibling rivalry that exists between you, or the friendship you built by working together. It's an opportunity to talk about how you feel. It forces Bridge to circle back to your conversation, asking you for a status report, then demanding to know why you haven't fixed the other character's emergency. Perfect. Now you can use the relationship between you and the Bridge and talk about that for a bit. Maybe your character thinks that the Bridge is a hero because of the actions taken during the war. Say so. It could be that you dislike the Bridge because you don't think the Bridge is ready for a leadership role. Say so. Get it out in the open and just say it. Sometimes Viewscreen players are reluctant to just flat out acknowledge the negative feelings that their characters have for one another. Don't hold back. Embrace the negative energy. After this brief conversation, of course, you have to offer a solution. You can't decline. You may only postpone the inevitable for a minute to sow discord and fear. And special effects. There are a few ways to conceal or mask objects in the background, such as windows, bookshelves, or doorknobs, which of course all things you want to hide from other players. Ah yes, hide the doorknobs. I always think of bed knobs and broomsticks, and you have the little kid, and they're like, "Oh, Timmy," I think his name's Timmy. "We need your special bed knob to help us get through." And the kid, again, straight acting, like has this bed knob, and he goes, "What's this got to do with my knob?" It's one of my favourite clips. What's this got to do with my knob? Move your lamp to a shelf or table behind you so that you're silhouetted. Ooh. You can still see the character sheet, but you look very odd to the players. I like that being backlit. That'd be quite fun. Turn off all the lights so that you're in darkness, and then use the light from your monitor or a small flashlight or LED light to read your character sheet. Again, you could do like the upward thing and look horrific with the double chins. Your face will still be visible with the glow from your monitor. Oh my god. Switch the light bulbs with colored bulbs, giving you and your face a strange glow. Maybe just ask, I don't know, Alexa to do that, perhaps? Or I think that's a bit wild. I guess even for 2013, it's like, you really need to make this cool. Take a bit of transparent plastic over your camera lens. For example, packaging plastic. The kind you get when you buy something at the store works wonders. So does a Ziploc bag. I like the idea of having like a filter of some sort on it, but obviously I know we've got special filters nowadays. Any costuming such as goggles, bloody bandages will add a great deal to the experience. If you have a uniform that's appropriate for the crew of a ship, put it on. Virtual backgrounds, which have become extremely popular in recent years, can transform the room behind you into the deck of a starship. Good work there. And then finally, we've got breaking the rules. Improvisation and ad-libbing work really well within the parameters of the game's rules. Rules themselves should not be broken. Sometimes the players want to approach the game mechanics in a creative manner, and this can cause complications. So I guess we'll read this out. So for example, consider someone who's playing a pathological liar. When the bridge asks for an update, the person says, "I'm fine, everything's fine." That confuses the person playing the bridge. After all, everyone on the ship is supposed to be in danger. Shouldn't the player tell the bridge about one of their emergencies? Another example. After 10 minutes, engineering has to tell medical, "I know it was you." However, the player doesn't say that and says, paraphrases the line somehow, and says, "You and I both know what happened that night." The person playing medical is bewildered. That's not what it says on the character sheet. On the character sheet, it says, "Undergo a major personality change," where someone says, "I know it was you." As soon as they say the exact phrase, you become someone that's different. However, that's not what engineering says. But engineering is clearly expecting medical to do something. What's going on? Is it time for the personality change or not? Okay, let's calm down, guys. I think you'd say then going, "What? I don't know what you're talking about. What could you possibly mean?" And then that person would then look back at the character and goes, "Oh, I know it was you." You know, I think that's better. And here I'd say like the bridge would be like, "You don't have to lie to me." You know, like honestly. In these examples, the player isn't respecting the rules, and it's causing doubt and confusion about how the game's supposed to work, or it's supposed to be working. In a game like this, changing rules without warning will only frustrate other players. It's a bit like playing a traditional RPG, picking up a die to change it to a different result. That's not how the game is played. Okay, alright. It might help you to watch other people play the game. You can still find the trailer for the second edition of Viewscreen on the Kickstarter. It showcases some dramatic moments from a wide range of players. Watch actual play sessions on YouTube and Twitch. They're terrific fun. This is the 10th anniversary, so that's why Twitch is mentioned here. Take a look at what other people have done with the games, emergency solutions, turning the camera on off, death scenes, special effects. Some of them are wearing costumes, which is fantastic. And then we've got a sign off, which says, "This is the captain of the Levi Gen Hollander. I came from nothing, and to the external void I am bound. I am very sorry. Good luck to you all. Burn all my works, destroy what I have wrought, all I've wrought, forget my name, and swear you knew me not." End transmission. I do think, like, 100% you would have, like, incoming transmission, and then at the end of the session you go, when the bridge is the final person to talk, they're like, end transmission, and then camera off. I think that's when I would use cameras on and off would be the last words, for sure. But there you go. That is view screen. I'm going to scoop it back up, not to the. Oh God, I hate that first page so often. I'm going to put it here. Great. Oh yes, I assumed this was the 20. I assumed it was the 2023 updated part with the virtual backgrounds. I don't know what gave it away. It was just one line. Cool. All right. Oh, we're almost out of time as well. Oh, we won't have a chance to look at the next scenario, unfortunately. Then. Well, there you go. So that's view screen. Screams. Sorry. Overall, I think it's a very fascinating concept. I'm surprised not more people are doing something like this for online play. I'm surprised there was not more of this in the pandemic, perhaps. Maybe because, I didn't know about it till I saw that tweet about it. The scenario we looked at earlier, God, that was a great scenario. I really liked that. I like the potential it has. I like that there's not really a mechanic per se. You know, it's all predetermined. So I guess that's the one thing is that if you've played one scenario, you're gonna know it's gonna you loses its value after a time perhaps. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna track down some of those APs and see how it's done. Well, JC Darcy, let me grab you. So there is one that's done by our friends at RPGs. I'm gonna pop that into the chat now so you can have a look at it later because they did one with Aaron Hammond from Queen Court Games. That's where I found out about this. Let me just put it RPGs. And yeah, I think they do a cracking job of it. There we go. Hopefully that's in the chat. And that goes for it's 3 hours long there, but I assume that's because they do like a talk back and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I like the idea. Again, it is obviously it is more LARPy. I think I'd love to see the different scenarios play out. Like I'm very excited to do it. It felt like something in that scenario we looked at. Bridge doesn't get to do emergencies and stuff, so they clearly have some sort of cool role there. But surely, it sounds like it's supposed to be a GM-less, but then that person is supposed to move the story along and moves things off. So I don't know if they are a character or if they just move things on. But I like the fact that you could have like a story player there. There's so much you can do in terms of like nowadays of like virtual backgrounds, put your costumes up, make it look realistic. I like the fact you could play it in real time, the 60 to 90 minutes. I keep saying 90 minutes off the top of the bat, I don't know why. So I think you could make a really great stream for, like, say if you're doing a Halloween charity stream. There's no mention of safety tools or session zeros or anything like that, which again I would be very keen to do because obviously certain topics might come up, stuff about like addiction, all that sort of thing, depending on the character sheets. Because that's the thing. It'd be cool to make your own version of it. I can imagine like coming into this as a LARP and making your own scenarios about it. It'd be interesting to check out those, the Neangeles, like cybercrime ones. Would be interesting. Though I do love the idea of a starship one. Of course, like the RP Geeks one, yeah. I think the tone of this, it's written very conversationally. I think this could have been half the page count. It's 40 pages. It repeats itself quite a bit. I think it's pretty much straight obvious what the flow diagram is. The advice at the end I think is good. But I just feel it's a lot to it. Like, it feels like a lot when I'd even say you can get it done in 10 pages. And then leave the rest of it to either advice about how to run it as a game or create your own. It'd be nice to see create your own. Or advice for players who are brand new to LARPing. Because this is, like I said, it's more improv-y and LARPy. There's not like a set thing. You just have these prompts. Which I think is enough. But yeah, like, I feel like you're wearing somebody else's face in that one. It's like, okay, I'm like, oh, I have loads of ideas, but I'm like, I have no idea what kind of, I think like, it'd be nice to have some examples of things it could be, as well as choose your own. I think some more context to certainly that scenario we saw. Like, what was the yellow sine wave? What does that really mean? But maybe it's something that you pick up during play and that's when you mold it. But it'd be nice to have, if you were starting off with that, maybe having some examples of it. There you go. We have 2 random pictures in it, which have been black and white. They're very nice, but there's no credit to them. I don't think it tells us. It doesn't tell us the artist, I think, as well, which is a shame. I can't stand these logos. Sorry, it's not my thing. It definitely reminds me of that sort of mid-noughties, like death metal shirts that you'd get. I like this instead. I would say, if you're doing this as a stream, I would definitely have a clock that everyone can see as it counts down from 90 minutes. That would be really fun. I'd love to have sound effects stuff like. It'd be really cool to do as a producer stream, I think. But yeah, interesting. I think yes, I definitely would read. I would keen to read more of these scenarios and maybe run a bit of them. So yeah, overall, very interesting actual play, interesting RPG. So yeah, check it out. So this RPG is Viewscream. She says, you can get it on itch.io, which the link is coming in the chat just now. That is the 10th anniversary one, which we've been looking at, which has second edition and then expanded scenarios of 2020 and distance. But you can get those individually on Drive for RPG as well. Maybe collectively a pound or two cheaper. Not entirely sure, but this felt like the most recent version, at least updated stuff. But yeah, some interesting things here to think about if you're creating content. So thank you so much for those who were with me. Let me go back to the Fiona screen. Hello. Thank you for watching. My name is Fiona. If you fancy checking out some more of my work rather than these weird streams, check out what am I rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast. As always, it's going very, very well. We're doing we've done lots of interviews with people recently. I'm doing some world building stuff just to get myself back on my feet whilst I've just had a big old move. We also have, if you're like, Fiona, this was too scary, get me back to the Dungeons and Dragons, the comfort and the safety of the dungeons. And I'm like, well, we also had the DM's Book Club as well, which is a weekly D&D book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons so that you don't have to. No, we read the book so that you don't have to. This was really cool. Thanks, Fiona. Thank you so much, Liz. Yeah, surprisingly, an interesting book. And something a bit different, which goes along with what we were talking about earlier today, I think, in terms of entertainment stuff. The D&D stuff, again, we just read the books and talk about what we like, what we didn't like, and where we would improve it as a story, like something to pull from for inspiration for any kind of system, not just D&D, because we're big fans of using different RPG systems. Coming up this week, in terms of Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPG, she says, desperately trying to find it. Good. I should have these on an actual calendar somewhere. We have not tomorrow, Thursday at 5 p.m. BST, 11 a.m. my time. We have Universalist. Universal is, which is a game of unlimited stories. I believe it's like a world building game of some sort, which is over 20 years old, but apparently got really good write up. So we'll check that out. I feel like, Fiona, what? Don't worry. On Friday, we're going to look at Hollows, the Quick Start, which is the new RPG that's been recently kickstarted from Rowan Rook and Dakar, and the Quick Start is out. So you can follow along with that if you're like, oh, that's one that's actually free. That's good. And then next week, let's go through them all just now. We've got the Land of Eam next week on Tuesdays at the same time. Land of Eam, I really love Land of Eam. I'm quite excited for that. I interviewed the game designers and writers of the comics ages ago, and they were super lovely, and I think it's quite fun. Then we've got Solitaire, which is like a group of solo games that are put together by, I want to say, Gion Shim? So I'm excited because they're a great game designer that I've followed, and they do lots of artifact kind of games. Then we've got the Sanction, on next Friday as well, which won not an ENnie. I won a UK Games Expo last year or the year before. And then we've got some other ones coming up over the rest of the month. Because yeah, I put some stuff there. But I will make a note because I know somebody asked earlier for a Shiver one. I'll double check. I don't know if I've done Shiver the Quick Start. I feel like I have, but I can't remember. I will double check. But there you go, friends, foes, and those of you up to the side. That is our system. Thanks, Fiona. No worries. Thank you, Sakaya. I hope you are well. And yeah. If folks are interested, in about an hour, we're gonna do the 4th episode of Mort Time over on Fueled by Chaos's YouTube channel. I think it's the last one. So if you fancy seeing whatever Siegfrieda and Edric are up to and whether or not we're going to find this vampire, come check us out. We are using the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 7th edition system. It's quite fun. It's a D100 system. Roll equal to or under your thing and you succeed. That's fun. All right, my loves. Thank you so much. Please, as always, play more games. Check out all the other tabletop RPG streams on this thing. Go check out that RP Geeks stream of Viewscreen. See what you think about it. Let me know. And I'm going to click the end of stream button here. I'm going to wave. I'll see you guys in a couple days' time. Have a good rest of your week. Bye. Mwah.